Hey, my Taphophile friends. I think we need to come up with a nickname, Taphophile Squad. How about that? Tell me if you like that in the comments. Okay, so today we're in Mount Olive, Illinois, at the Union Miner Cemetery, and well, I got some interesting information about a woman that's buried out here, and let's go check it out. Hi, friend. Thanks for joining me. Let's go have an adventure. There's a little plaque here. I'm not going to read it. I will walk up to it. If you want to read it, you're pause the video and read it. Typically clad in a black dress, her face framed by a lace collar and black hat. The barely 5 foot tall Mother Jones was a fearless fighter for the workers' rights. Once labeled the most dangerous woman in America by a U.S. District Attorney, Mary Harris, Mother Jones, rose to prominence as a fiery orator and fearless organizer for the mine workers during the first 2 decades of the 20th century. Her voice had great carrying power. Her energy and passion inspired men half of her age into action and compelled their wives and daughters to join in the struggle. If that didn't work, she would embrace men to action. I have been in jail more than once and I expect to go again. If you are too cowardly to fight, I will fight, she told them. Mother Jones' organizing methods were unique for her time. She welcomed African American workers and involved women and children in strikes. She organized miners' wives into teams armed with mops and brooms to guard the mines against scabs. She staged parades with children carrying signs that read, "We want to go to school, not to the mines." Born Mary Harris in Cork County, Ireland, the woman who became Mother Jones immigrated to North America with her family as a child to escape the Irish famine. She spent her early years in Canada and trained to be a dressmaker and teacher. Historians are uncertain about her exact date of birth, but she was baptized August 1st, 1837. In her early 20s, she moved to Chicago, where she worked as a dressmaker, and then to Memphis, Tennessee, where she met and married George Jones, a skilled iron motor, and staunch unionist. The couple had 4 children. When struck with tragedy, a yellow fever epidemic in 1867, which killed hundreds of people, took the lives of Mary's husband and all 4 of her children. Mary moved back to Chicago and returned to the commercial dressmaking. She opened her own shop and patronized by some of the wealthiest women in town. According to one account of her life, Mary's interest in the union movement grew when she sewed for wealthy Chicago families. I would look out the plate glass windows and see the poor, shivering wretches, jobless and hungry, walking alongside in frozen lakefront, she said. The tropical contrast of their condition with that of the tropical comfort of the people for whom I sewed was painful to me. My employers seemed neither to notice nor to care. Tragedy struck Mary once again when she lost everything in the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. After the fire, Mary began to travel across the country. The nation was undergoing dramatic change, And industrialization was changing the nature of work. She moved from town to town to support union the workers struggles in Kansas City. She did advance work for a group of unemployed men who marched on Washington, D.C. to demand jobs. In Birmingham, Alabama, she helped black and white miners during a nationwide coal strike. Many, Mary organized a massive show of support for Eugene Debs, the leader of the American Railway Union, after he served a 6-month prison sentence for defying a court order not to disrupt railroad traffic in support of striking Pullman workers. In June 1897, after Mary addressed a railway union convention, she began to be referred to as Mother by the men of the union. The name stuck. That summer, when 9,000 member mine workers called a nationwide strike of South coal miners, and tens of thousands of miners laid down their tools, Mary arrived in Pittsburgh to assist them. She became Mother Jones to millions of working men and women all across the country for her efforts on behalf of the miners. Mother Jones was so effective, the miners, the mine workers sent her into the coal fields to sign up miners with the union. She agitated in the anthracite fields of eastern Pennsylvania, the company towns of West Virginia, and the harsh coal camps of Colorado. Nearly everywhere, coal workers, textile workers, or steel workers were fighting to organize a union. Mother Jones was there. She was banished from more towns and was in more jails in more states than any other union leader at the time. In 1912, she was charged with the capital offense by a military tribunal in West Virginia and was held under house arrest for weeks until popular outrage and national attention forced the governor to release her. Mother Jones was deeply affected by the machine gun massacre in Ludlow, Colorado, when National Guardsmen raided the tent colony of striking miners and their families, killing 20 people, mostly women and children. She struggled across the country, telling the story and testified before the U.S. Congress. In addition to miners, Mother Jones also was very concerned about child workers. During a silk strike in Philadelphia, 100,000 workers, including 16,000 children, left their jobs over a demand that their work week be cut from 60 to 55 hours. To attract attention to the cause of abolishing child labor in 1903, she led a children's march of 100 children from the textile mills of Philadelphia to New York City to show the New York millionaires our grievances. She led the children all the way to President Theodore Roosevelt's Long Island home. In her 80s, Mother Jones was settled down near Washington, D.C. In 1921, she continued to travel across the U.S., across the country. In 1924, although unable to hold a pen between her fingers, she made her last strike appearance in Chicago in support of striking dressmakers, hundreds of whom were arrested and blacklisted during their ill-fated 4-month-long struggle. She died in Silver Spring, Maryland, on November 30th, 1930, and was buried at the only Union-owned cemetery in the country, in the Union Miner Cemetery in Mount Olive, Illinois. Mary Harris, Mother Jones, wrote a special request to the miners of Mount Olive in 1923, asking to be buried in this cemetery. The same clay that shelters the miners who gave up their lives on the hills of Virden, and her request was granted. The song, "She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain When She Comes," was written about Mother Jones.
She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be driving 6 white horses when she comes. She'll be driving 6 white horses when she comes. She'll be driving 6 white horses. She'll be driving 6 white horses. She'll be driving 6 white horses when she comes. Oh, we'll all go out to meet her when she comes. Oh, we'll all go out to meet her when she comes.